Teaching English to kids online can be tricky, but it doesn't have to be. In this video, I'll share 9 tips for making teaching young learners online more enjoyable for you and your students. Let's get started. My first tip for teaching kids online is setting clear rules and expectations. Just like in the physical classroom, they need rules and routines to follow. In my online classroom, I like to teach my students to raise their hand, wait to be called on for their turn, and practice listening to the other students in the class. Going over these rules for just 2 minutes at the beginning of every online session saves a lot of headaches and just reminds the students of the routines and rules that we have in my classroom. When it comes to online learning, you do have the additional tool of the mute button, but this should really only be used as a last resort or if there's a lot of distracting background noise, so use this sparingly. My second tip for teaching kids online is using digital rewards. In today's examples, I'll show you how I use the LearnCube Online School Lite, digital whiteboard, and ESL curriculum, but these ideas can be adapted for other platforms like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Welcome to the digital whiteboard of LearnCube. If you come down here, you have a few different tools that you can use. They have ticks, crosses, and stars. For my students, I like to give them a tick if they have a correct answer, and for a certain number of ticks, they will earn a star. So that's how you can use digital rewards. Here's some of the young learner content. So imagine that they were doing this activity and maybe they got an answer wrong. So you have these hearts on the side, which are kind of like lives in a video game. I like to give them back a life if they then get a correct answer. So just select where you crossed out the heart and erase. To learn more about LearnCube's Online School Lite platform, you can check out this video. My third tip for teaching kids online is using the webcam to keep your students engaged. If you're going to be teaching online, you might as well take advantage of this great tool. I'll have my kids come closer or move further away from the camera to get them up and out of their seats. I might pop in and out of the frame or use some props that pop in and out. So it really keeps your kids on their toes, engaged, and not knowing what's going to happen next. It's a great tool to use in the online classroom. If you're using LearnCube, you can choose to show the whiteboard and the students' videos, or you can change the view to the conversation mode, and you'll just see your students and the chat. My fourth tip for teaching kids online is taking brain breaks to change up a routine and help your students refocus. Staring at a screen for hours isn't good for anyone, but especially not for young learners. My favorite brain breaks are songs, dances, stretching, breathing techniques, and games. In LearnCube's ESL materials for young learners, you'll find different games, and these are perfect for brain breaks. My fifth tip for teaching kids online is using characters and topics that they're interested in and quickly loading them into the whiteboard. For example, if you have a student who's obsessed with Minecraft or Harry Potter, then you can quickly search up an image of one of the characters, load it into the whiteboard with the copy-paste option or a shortcut, and suddenly you have something that you can talk about that the kid is very interested in, and it's great for them to see their favorite character become part of your lesson. My sixth tip for teaching kids online is using the online whiteboard and tools to make your lessons more interactive. This is a great way for them to practice circling or matching or typing in answers. There's a lot of great things that they can do. So let's take a look at some of these tools in LearnCube. LearnCube has all different kinds of shapes that you can use to cover up text in your lessons. And it's nice because you can do this before class and have it all loaded up and ready to go before your students even arrive. Then as they're going through the lesson, maybe you have them guess and then you can just get rid of them. Here's another example of using boxes to cover up part of a sentence. You can cover up the last few words, make it a little bit challenging. Why not? Here's the text tool. I'm using it on my side, but these students will also have access to the tool. If you don't want them to have access, you can lock the whiteboard, and this is very important if you are teaching very young learners. There's also an arrow shape that you can use, circles, and there's a pointer as well if you want to point things out to your students. You can zoom the page in and out to make it easier to read. And if you want to clear the whole whiteboard, there's just a one-click option. Now all of the mess is gone. There's also a highlighter. So if you want your students to focus on the word that they need to transform, just highlight it. Here's an example of the ESL materials. I can search for young learners just by typing in young, and I have all of these different options to choose from, the objectives of the lesson, and some example activities. My 7th tip for teaching kids online is using physical props to grab their attention. For example, you could use little foam letters. If you don't have those, another easy one is flashcards, and these also have pictures, so you can use these for stories or for talking. Maybe you want to use stars as a reward or for counting practice. And I also like to make little characters, so you can easily find clip art on Canva, color it in, put it on a popsicle stick, put some cardboard on the background, and suddenly have a little character. So remember we talked about having something pop in and out of the screen? Well, here's the perfect example. Other things you can use are puppets and anything that the kids like. So little toys or emojis are great if you wanted to print off emojis. My 8th tip for teaching kids online is changing up how you use your voice. For example, you could have them whisper a sentence and then yell the sentence. You could have them talk like a robot and read a sentence that way, or underwater. Basically have them mimic or pretend to say things in a different way. Keeping this nice and dynamic keeps them interested, and it's a lot easier for them to focus and participate than when you're just speaking in a very monotone way. My 9th tip for teaching kids online is using Canva to create printable worksheets that complement your online lessons. For example, if you're studying a certain letter or maybe a topic, you can create a worksheet where your students can practice tracing or matching, and this way they're getting practice with their fine motor skills. If you'd like to learn how to make a worksheet on Canva or other online teaching materials like an animated book, then you can check out my Canva Tutorials for Teachers playlist. I hope this video gives you some tips and techniques for teaching kids online. If you'd like to try LearnCube's Online School Lite, then you can use the link below to sign up for a free trial. What questions do you have about teaching kids online? Leave a comment down below. You can find me on Instagram at ESLTeacher365, and if you need any extra help getting started as an online teacher or teaching abroad, then you can fill out my survey, which is linked down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Happy teaching!